Is this visible?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
last day I have discussed up to this stack, I think so. Is it right? Up to stack. Okay, so the next topic menu is special function groups or SFRs of 8051 microcontroller. Okay, uh, wait 1 minute. Okay, so let's start with SFRs. Now, SFRs are 8-bit registers in 8051 microcontroller. Each SFR has its own special functions. Okay, they are placed inside the microcontroller, like in RAM, basically upper 128 bytes of RAM. These are specifically used for certain function, and they are used by the programmer to perform special functions like controlling the timers, controlling the serial communication using the serial ports, and to interface different IO input output devices, or to control the IO ports. Okay. Now, as SFRs are available to the programmer, uh, we can use them in instructions also. Okay, but this causes another problem. SFRs are registers after all, and hence using them would tremendously increase the number of opcodes. Number of opcodes. Now, to reduce the number of opcodes, SFRs are allotted addresses. Okay, so using either the name of that particular SFR or using the address. So some of the SFRs are using by their addresses or given the name also. Okay, so that is the flexibility of the instructions in 8051 microcontroller. Now, these addresses must not clash with any other addresses of the existing memories. Okay, so total 128 bytes of RAM, on chip RAM, is available. Now, this RAM is available for different purposes, like register banks are available into this memory portion, or stack operation can be implemented into this memory portion, and also the general purpose certain registers are available here also. And the upper 128 bytes are basically used as your register, which is one type of memory itself. Okay, so because it stores certain amount of data, that's why it is a memory device. Now, incidentally, the internal RAM of 128 bytes and uses addresses only from 00278, that is 128 bytes of address 00278. Now, this gives an entire range of addresses from 80 to FF completely unused and can be freely allotted to the SFRs. Okay, so the internal RAM 128 bytes, uh, because the data is 128 bytes, means 2 to the power 7. 2 to the power 7, that means address lines must be 7 bits in size, but no address is, or no data byte can be used in microprocessor like 7 or 5 or 3 bits. Either this can be 4 bit, or this can be 8 bit, or 12 bit, or 20 bit. In this way, the data bytes or the address range must be allotted. So if it needs 7 bits of address lines, 7 address lines, but it is not connected in this way, so total 256 RAM has to be connected with the 8051 microcontroller. But that is not, 256 is not accessible at a time. That's why it is divided into two parts. One is the lower 128 bytes of RAM and upper 128 bytes of RAM. Now lower 128 bytes can be accessible using 18051 microcontroller. So these portions available from 00 to 7F. Now upper 128 bytes are available free to the end user, and that's why this free space can be used in such way that upper 128 bytes memory addresses can be assigned using 80 address to FF address. Okay, so 80 to FF. Now hence this SFRs are allotted addresses from 80 to FF. It is not a coincidence that these addresses are free. It is how 8051 design was planned. Okay, the internal RAM was restricted to 128 bytes instead of 256 bytes, so that these addresses are free for special function registers or free for SFRs. Okay. Now, moreover, some SFRs are bit addressable like port 0, port 0. So here the list of SFRs, as you can see in this slide. These are the name of the registers. Total 21 SFRs, special function registers, are available, and this can be used as name A. A means accumulator, B is the register, PSW program status word, stack pointer, DPL and DPH, which is the data pointer, DPTR. It is divided into two parts, higher and lower. P0, port 1, port 2, port 3, SCON register, S buffer register, S means the serial control register, serial buffer registers, timer control, timer mode, timer 0, lower byte, timer 1, lower byte, timer 0, higher byte, timer 1, higher byte, interrupt enable, and the interrupt parity register, interrupt enable registers, and power control registers. So these are the registers, and each register has a certain specific functions. Okay, now so this as you can see here, the ports P0, suppose this one P0, which is IO port. So this address of this port 0 is 80. Now this port 0 can be bit addressable also, which is from 87, 80 to 87, because it has 8 lines in port 0, P0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 up to 0.7. Now P0.0, the address of P0.0 is 80. Address of P0.1 is 81. Address of P0.2 is 82. In this way, address of P0.7 is 87. So you can use full 8-bit of port using this address 80, or you can use a particular bit of that port 0, either 0.0 or 0.1, 1 bit of that port using this address, either 87 or 86. Okay, so that is the flexibility of architecture of this 8051. And so bit addresses 80 to FF are allotted to the bits of various special function registers. Now like port 0 I have discussed. One example is like move. Do you have pen and paper with you? If you have, then you can write it as move A comma P0. Move A comma P0. Suppose this is an instruction. Move A comma P0. So what is the function of this instruction? Move the content from port 0 to A register. Okay, so move A comma P0. So this refers to byte address 80, that is the address of whole port 0 the status must be loaded inside accumulator into a register. That is the function. Okay, so you can write it as P0 or you can write it as 80 also. Okay, like move a comma P0, what is the function of this one is same with uh, move a comma at the rate 80, the same thing. uh, Next point is a bit operation actually at 80. Bit operation at 80 will affect only P0.0. It doesn't affect P0.1 because P0.0 address is here given as 80. P0.1 address is given as 81. So if it is given such an example like set B, write down set B, all these are in capital letters, set SET, set B, will set the bits, set B P0.0. It is an instruction, set B P0.0. So this is actually refers to bit address 80, that is the address of port 0.0. So it will be set, means the bit corresponding bit will be 1. So P0.0 will be 1. So that is the function of set B P0.0 instruction. Okay. So in this way you can see here also. So A, B, PSW, these are used to holding data and status during programming, current programming. So individual, uh, uh, these have several purposes to hold the data and the status during any operation. Oh, next is the stack pointer or DPTR, means DPL or DPH, used in instructions to point to memory. Actually, both stack pointer, it is used in memory pointing purpose for stack operation, and that is for external memory connection. Okay, P0, P1, P2, P3 used by the respective IO ports. And these are IO ports, or in case of external memory access, it can be uh, used for use as to transfer the addresses. Okay. And next is this SCON and SBUF, serial port control and serial port data buffer. These two registers are used for serial communication purpose. And these timer or counter control, or timer or counter mode operation control, or timer 0 lower 8 bit or lower byte, timer 1 lower byte. These are all timer and counter related operations. These are used for timer or counter related operation, okay, function. And the next two registers are IE and IP. These are for interrupt processing purpose. Okay, so that's why this is IE, interrupt enable, and the next is interrupt priority. And the last one, which is called the power control, that is used for control the power of the system. Okay, which is connected through this 8051 microcontroller. So these are very important registers, and that's why it is so called special function register. It has certain special functions. Okay. Next is the power control in 8051. So what happened in power control? Basically, uh, it has uh, various power control modes are available, which are used for controlling the power which is consumed by the microcontroller IC. And some of these modes let the microcontroller go into the sleep mode, which makes it consumes less power than during a normal operation. The power control modes basically is used by the special function register, which is called the PCON register, and that is the format of PCON register. It's an 8-bit register. So it is the bit pattern of PCON register. So here IDL basically in P control power control register 8051 actually gives two power saving modes. One is the idle mode, another is the power down mode. Idle mode and power down mode. Okay, idle mode and another is power down mode. Now to enter one of these modes, the corresponding bit is set in the PCON SFR register. Okay, and that is the uh, bit specification how it goes into such idle mode or power down mode. So it is not bit addressable register, it is not bit addressable, it is byte addressable. Okay, so it has specific address to operate. Now here the lower bit, which is D0 bit, which is for ideal mode operation. If it is 1, it goes into ideal mode. Or if this one is 1, second bit, which is for power down mode. Now the next two bits are used for general purpose flag bits. General purpose flag bits. It can be used to store certain data, means the status of any flag bits. Next three bits are not used, so usually these are 0 and SMOD, that is used for serial serial communication purpose for mode selection. And here in this case if it is in serial mode operation, then the baud rates can be set in mode 1 or mode 2 or mode 3. Okay, because for serial communication purpose you need the baud rate, how many bits will be transmitted per second. You need to control it by selecting different baud rates. Now advantage, see different advantages are available in of power saving mode. That is, it is cost effective as less power is consumed. Another is power saving actually reduces the heat generation during any operation, and hence more compact circuit design can be implemented. Uh, Expensive fans and blowers are not required. If it is it needs much, if it generates much more heat, then you need to control it by using different fans and different blowers. But if it consumes less power and it will not generate so much heat, so you don't need to add uh, these expensive fans or blowers to minimize the heat. So it is very advantage of having this type of power saving feature. Another is as components are subject to less heat, their reliability increases and longer life is assured. Okay, like you have all of you have mobile phones, and when you there is a button for power down mode. If you press that button, your phone will be in sleep mode. Okay, so no display will be there, and when you again press that button, your display will be on. After that you can enter into your system. Okay, so this is called the power saving feature, or power down mode or ideal mode. Okay, now in ideal mode what happened, actually 8051 now enters into this ideal mode when ideal bit of PCON SFR is set to 1, which is D0 bit of PCON register. As PCON is not bit addressable, the instruction used is like any OR operation, bit related operation, ORL 87H comma #01. This type of instruction can be used to operate this. And in ideal mode only, the clock signal to the CPU is cut off, hence the CPU goes to sleep. And as the CPU draws up to 80% of the power supply, this saves sufficient amount of power. Okay, at that time ALE signal and PSEN bar, program store enable, signals are will be this are held high. The oscillator is still running, so the on chip components like the RAM, timer or serial port, interrupts, program counter, stack pointer, program status word, a register retain their value as long as VCC is maintained high. That is, if supply voltage is given, it remains it retains their values. Now, termination of ideal mode can be done by either using interrupt or using the reset signal. Now, if interrupt, so if uh, when a valid interrupt occurs, then ideal bit in the PCON register is reset to 0. That means this one here. This D0 bit, ideal bit will be 0. And 8051 at that time comes out of the ideal mode. Now ISR for the interrupt is executed. Control returns to the main program and execution of the main program continues after the instruction that caused the ideal mode. As the internal components maintained their original values, the original states of the program is restored. Okay, so that is one method. Another is you can give the reset signal, manual reset signal, so that the ideal mode is will be terminated. The reset signal must be active only for 2 clock cycles, as the oscillator is still running. So you need to give that signal at least for 2 clock cycles. Now, as 8051 is reset, all the SFRs, special function registers, and the internal registers are reset. Program counter is 0000. All ports contains ones, and the program starts from location 0000 from the starting memory location. Okay, hence the original state of the program is not restored. Okay, so these are the two ways by which you can terminate the ideal mode. Now, what happened in next power down mode? So, actually 8051 enters into this mode by the PD bit of the PCON SFR when it is set to 1. As PCON is so it is not bit addressable, so in the same way it can be used by the address of that SFR register. Okay, and here the entire chip is put to sleep as the oscillator is turned off. On chip RAM and SFRs maintain their values as it is. If 8051 is running from external clock source, then it is blocked, and at that time ALE signal and the program store enable, which is PSEN bar signal, must be high. Okay, so you need to remember certain things when you'd like to use this power down mode or apply it. So in actually the VCC can be reduced to minimize power consumption. It is important that VCC must be maintained high until 8051 enters the power down mode, and VCC must be restored before power down mode is terminated. Because this would ensure that no damage is done to the internal circuit during power down mode. Now, how can you terminate this power down mode? Using the reset operation only, and that is the at that time when you press the reset, as the oscillator is not running at that time, if it because it is in power down mode, oscillator is not running, so reset signal must be active long enough for the oscillator to restart and stabilize. Okay, now as 8051 is reset, all SFRs and all internal registers are reset, program counter is cleared, all ports contain ones, and program starts from location 0000, initial location. So hence the original state of the program is not restored. Now if VCC was held high during power down mode, then the data of the internal RAM is maintained, otherwise not. Okay, so these are the feature of power control SFR register. Now coming to the software section, which is basically now do you have any queries relating to the last topic? Is it clear? Is it clear? Do you have any queries? Any doubts? Rajashree Ghosh. Rajashree Ghosh, do you have any
No, sir,
queries?
don't have any doubt.
Sohini,
No, sir.
Sonu Kumar,
No, sir.
Madhusmita.
No, sir.
Okay, then shall I proceed to the next topic? Okay, so coming to the software part, which is the instruction part, because you need these instructions to apply it into your program. Okay, so instruction set in 8051 microcontroller, uh, it has very flexible instructions to control a specific operation or certain operation. Different types of operations are there. And unlike 8085 instruction set, 8051 instruction set has the instructions for bit manipulation also. Okay, which was not present inside 8085 or 8086 microprocessor. Okay, so you have bit manipulations. That means the whole port or whole the hardware circuit cannot be used for any specific operation. You can, if you don't need to access full 8 bits, then only you can use a particular bit or 2 bits or 3 bits at a time. So that is the bit manipulation instructions, and bit addressable uh, registers are available in 8051 microcontroller. Now the 8051 instruction set supports different addressing modes, but what is the main criteria? Here 8051 supports the indexed addressing and relative addressing. Now you have already seen in 8086 microprocessor or the advanced microprocessor, they have all indexed addressing or relative based addressing modes. Okay, so 8051 has this kind of addressing modes. Um, so addressing mode, basically what is it? It is a way by which data is specified in an instruction. Okay, or to locate a data bytes. So it is a way to define your operands. Okay, or to locate your data. So different ways are available, and these are called different modes. Now the data fetched for execution depends upon the addressing modes. So here in 8051, 8051, here 5 addressing modes are available. 5 addressing modes are available, and these are immediate addressing modes, register direct addressing mode, memory direct addressing mode, memory indirect addressing mode, and indexed addressing mode. Now I will discuss one by one these addressing modes. Um, so first one is the immediate addressing mode, where you can write the immediate data bytes to operate. Like here here one example is given, like add a comma hash 80. So this hash represent, it's a data, it's not a address. Okay, because 8051 microcontroller has 8-bit address as well as 16-bit address. Okay, for 8-bit address for to access the internal RAM, and 16-bit address for internal ROM or external ROM. Okay, and also the external RAM. So it's not an address. How can you specify it? Using this hash before this data byte? You can prefix it. So data is preceded by a symbol, hash symbol. So it is the immediate data which will be added to the accumulator. Okay, and the result will be stored inside accumulator. That is the destination part. Okay, now this addressing mode is basically used when the data for the arithmetic and logical operation is needed only once and is a constant. Okay, otherwise there is a flexibility. How can you operate it, how can you add it anyway? You can use because accumulator has some address also, because it's a SFR, special function register. So either you can give a name or you can use the address of that um, accumulator. Okay, so that is immediate addressing mode. The next addressing mode is called the register direct addressing mode. Register direct addressing mode. Here, register. Now the registered banks are available in 8051 microcontroller in 128 byte internal RAM, where 4 banks are available. Register bank 0, 1, 2, 3, and each registered bank there are 8 registers R0 to R7. R0, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, R7. Okay. So for register bank 0, it has 8 registers from R0 to R7. For register bank 1, it has again 8 registers from R0 to R7. And for register bank 2, it has again 8 registers from R0 to R7. And for register bank 3, it has again 8 registers from R0 to R7. So total you have 32 registers. Okay, there is so much registers are available for to perform a specific function. Okay, using 8051 microcontroller. That's why it is so faster compared to the microprocessors like 8085 or 8086 microprocessor. It is much more faster 8051 microcontroller, because everything is inbuilt inside that IC. So everything is locally available inside this IC. It is nothing is external. So much external things are not implemented. Okay. So R0 here it's a register. So the content, this instruction actually add the contents of register R0 to the content of accumulator, and the result will be stored inside accumulator. Okay, now the registers A, data pointer, and R0 to R7 are used in register direct addressing. You can use accumulator, you can use data pointer, uh, and the data pointer means either you can use DPH or DPL according to the SFR. It's a special function register which can be used 8-bit, 8-bit also. Okay. Now these addressing modes uses temporary registers which hold the data for the operation. The next addressing mode is the memory direct addressing mode. Okay, so where memory address must be given. So what is it? Like for example, add a comma 74 h. So nothing is given before this 74 data bytes. No hash, no at the rate, nothing is given. So if it is simply given as 74 number, that means it's an address. Okay, so actually what happened in this instruction, this instruction actually adds the data byte which is stored in accumulator to the memory address content, to the content which is stored inside memory address 74. Okay, now the all internal RAM addresses including that of special function register can be used in memory direct addressing instruction. Why? Because all the internal RAM addresses are 8 bits in size. These are 8-bit addresses. Okay, and all the SFR special function register addresses are also 8-bit in size. Okay, so any address can be given using this memory direct addressing mode. Okay, now the addressing mode is used when the data stored in memory is to be used in arithmetic or logical instructions. Now the data in this now the data in memory used in this direct addressing mode can be changed at any point of at any time when you uh, execute your program. Okay. The next addressing mode is as memory indirect addressing mode. Memory indirect addressing mode, where you can write this one as add a comma at the rate R0. Now this at the rate means it's a memory location, and the location of uh, the value, actually what happened here in this case, the value stored in the register R0 is now the address of the memory location of the data to be fetched. So it stored basically the address. Now R0, it's a register, no doubt it's a register, but this register is used to point some memory location. Which memory location? The internal RAM memory location, which is 8-bit in size. So R0 basically stores the 8-bit internal RAM address where some data byte is there, and that data byte should be added to the accumulator content, and after that the result will be stored into accumulator. So the meaning of this instruction is add a comma at the rate R0. So R0 is your register. At the rate means it has certain memory address. So R0 stores certain memory address, internal RAM memory address, which is 8-bit in size, and within that memory address some 8-bit of data is available. That data should be added to the accumulator, and the result will be stored inside accumulator. Okay, so the data pointer register is used to access the data in the external memory with 16-bit addresses. You can use data pointer register also in this case, because uh, in any internal RAM address can be stored by any register, general purpose registers, but the external memory address, which is 16-bit in size, so that cannot be used by any 8-bit general purpose register. So that's why one is DPTR is available, which is used as data pointer register to point the external memory address. That can be used in this mode also. Indirect memory indirect addressing mode. Now the indirect addressing mode is very much useful for accessing data which is continuously stored in memory and accessed uh, consecutively in program. Okay. The next is the indexed addressing. It is very important addressing mode and very flexible addressing mode, which in this type of addressing, basically what happens, there are two parts. Instruction has two parts. One is the base address, another is the offset address. Clear? Base address and offset address. Now this type of addressing is useful in relative memory accessing or in case of relative jumping. I will discuss about this jumping technique, relative jumping, um, after a few slides. Now the base address is stored in data pointer or any other register. Like in this way, DPTR can be used, and offset can be always is stored in the accumulator. So if this example is given as move C, C means it is code memory, means the program memory. So there must be one ROM, another is RAM. So to operate anything from the ROM is called the program memory or code memory. RAM is called the data memory. So now move C represents move the content from code memory or program memory, and program memory represents one ROM device. So from the ROM, the addresses can be accessed or required number of instructions can be accessed. How? So move CA, comma, at the rate A plus DPTR. Suppose DPTR has certain address and accumulator stores certain address. Now the combination